It's been an incredible journey, and it's time to lock it in for the home stretch. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the Free to Paws account because we are going to be tackling dungeons and overall just show you where my account is. It's been just a little while, so let's go over things that have been changing on this account, things I have done in this account, where I am at, and as well as the fact that tomorrow, around probably just before when this video gets published, or just after when this video gets published, we will lock in the finality of the second month of dungeon run score points. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's go take a look at the leaderboards and I'll show you. So at the end of every month of competition time, effectively 4-ish weeks, we have these points awarded in key areas that are one-time points. So with Dragon's Lair, Fire Knight, Spider, Ice Golem, Sand Devil, Shogun, and Iron Twin. So basically all of the dungeons, there's progress points. So the idea is not only who's going to have the highest score in each dungeon, but there are bonus points for having the best scores in each of the dungeons, as well as generally being on the list for all of them as well. So if we look here at the leaderboard rank down below, it talks to you about number 1 being 250 points, number 2 through 10 is 225 points, and 11 through 50 is 200, and then it goes down from there. So obviously for the creators, it's really kind of hard to not be in the top 50 because there's only 54 people competing, and there's a few people that have dropped out at this point in time. So my goal is to make sure that I am not below the top 10 in any of these dungeons. Why is that important? Well, it's one thing to be missing 225 points here or there, but missing possibly 50 points compared to somebody who may have come in number 1, as well as 25 points for several people in the top 10, is going to be hard to make up. Not impossible, it's certainly very capable of making those up, but as long as I can stay in the top 10, I'm at least getting the second highest points on each one of these dungeons, and that adds up. That adds up, there's what, 7, 8 dungeons there? So that is going to be, that's an additional 200 points to 400 points, depending on if it's number 1 all the way down to number 11. So I don't want to miss out on those points. As far as where I am right now, I'll hide my safe just so you can see where I am right now. In Dragon, I am currently number 7 on hard 5. I probably unsafe there because there's a couple people I'm certainly got better times with, but I probably want to run this at least once or twice just to kind of push this time up, even if I cannot get to hard 6. That said, I am pretty sure I can get to hard 6 now with the way my account has progressed. I just need to do it. So getting to hard 6 would be great. If I can get to hard 7, that would be even better. I will certainly give it a try, but at the same time, if I don't get number 1, that's fine. I want to make sure I'm not falling out of the top 10. We have Ice Golem down here. Ice Golem, I am at number 7. I'm at floor 22. I would like to push to floor 24 if I could. The big problem is floor 23 is force, which is a problem for the way my current team is composed. Maybe I can manual and get my way through, and if I can, I should be able to down 24 without a problem. Otherwise, I'm going to have to settle with a good time on number 22. But to be fair, Ice Golem is one that people are not pushing very hard. As you can see, there's not a lot of people that are even at 20, so I'm not as worried about that. On the other hand, Fire Knight, I think I just need to run this team again with the new and improved team. I certainly have built a better team in general. They're faster, they're stronger, we have the technology, all that fun stuff, and I just need to run it probably on unlimited frame rate and get that time down a bit to guarantee the number 1 on Fire Knight. If I don't keep number 1 on Fire Knight, that's fine, but I expect I will because I don't see a lot of other players with the champions I've got in the configuration and the gear that I have. This team here, which we've run before, I've got Tagore, and he's now faster than he was when I ran this. I've got Geomancer, he's now faster than he was and stronger. I've got Alice, she is better built than she used to be. Coldheart is better built, and Ugo, and I don't know if I've improved my Ugo build that much, but Ugo still very, very good overall. And speeding up Alice, plus Alice now gets the turn meter reduction that she didn't get before on her A2. They've patched that and fixed that, which means that this team should be significantly better than it used to just because of Alice's fix. Finally, if we go down to Spider here, you'll see that I am the number 120 speed on Spider. That team is not 100%, but so many people are struggling to even get to Spider. The fact that I have a 39-second team on Spider, and to be fair, it's not 100%, but it's about 80%. It fails occasionally. It doesn't always run at that 39 seconds, but when it does run at that 39 seconds, it is absolutely awesome. So those are the big standard 5 keeps, but we also have to make sure that we pay attention down here. We've got Iron Twins. I have struggled to get past Iron Twins 10. Probably my best chance of doing that would be doing it today and before I've used all my keys today, so it's probably not going to get better than that. Getting past 10 is very difficult if you don't have the right champions and the right affinity. So tomorrow is going to be Force Affinity, which is going to be hard for me to advance on because this is Magic Affinity. Magic and Spirit Affinity are the two that are easier for me. So I'm not going to be able to probably do Advanced Iron Twins that much. That said, I don't see anyone else challenging me to knock me off of the top 10 because there's a lot of people who would have to jump in front of me to do that. Sand Devil, well, I am currently number 6 in Sand Devil at 13. I have the best time on 13. 14 is a bad affinity for me, but I can certainly try it. And 15, if I can get to 15, that would guarantee me a top spot, even if it doesn't guarantee me the top spot. So we'll certainly see how hard I have to push in that one. Meanwhile, Shogun's Grove, well, I was the first one on level 15. I actually won this one at the previous time. So there are still people that are struggling on this a little bit. I can certainly push 16 and see if I can do 16. I've got a few more ascensions now that might make it a little bit better. We'll see. It's worth trying, but it is definitely going to be locked in. And then finally, we have the event dungeon. I don't think the event dungeon was giving the month-end points. So if it is, I am locked in at second place because the event dungeon has officially closed now. So what has changed that makes me think I can certainly speed up my times a little bit? Well, I have rebuilt Alice since I was doing the Fire Knight 25, and she is faster, she is stronger, she has the Savage gear on. I believe I had Savage on her beforehand, but I now have this wonderful Savage weapon right here. Absolutely amazing. I actually bought this from the shop, believe it or not, and then it rolled really well, and then it got accuracy when I got it to plus 16. Absolutely insane. I've even ascended it a little bit just because this is such a good weapon. This is an end game weapon on this account. So that's going to certainly help a little bit. Geomancer has now got a 2-star blessing, and I have slowly but surely grown his gear up a little bit, and I've glyphed him up a bit, so he is certainly a lot faster than he used to be as well. Tagore, I finally rolled up these boots. I actually had these boots at plus 12 for a long period of time, so these have been moved up to plus 16. That has sped him up quite a bit. He's now going at over 240 speed. He's got some really good stats, and that will certainly help out. Coldheart has been slowly but surely grinding up this gear as well, so I've gotten more crit rate and crit damage to speed things up a little bit. She's gotten a little bit faster as things have improved. Certainly, I hope that maybe I can roll this up and get speed or accuracy on this would be absolutely amazing. Otherwise, at this point in time, I'm just farming to get slightly better gear on her, but overall, her gear is very good, and she's very well built. As far as new 6-stars, I think last update I did talk about how I 6-starred Rector Drath. I have not invested too much into getting Rector Drath better than she is right now, mostly because I have been focused on other areas, and Rector Drath has been a key champion for me in Hydra. That said, I have finally finished booking her up. At least I finally finished up booking this A2 and this A3. I got some books in the A1, not the worst case scenario. I certainly wouldn't hate this to have been booked, but I was really hoping to save a couple of epic books here. We've gotten Morgaine finally up to 6 stars. She is absolutely insanely fast now. So we have the 287 speed. She has been amazing in Arena. She has been amazing in Dark Fae. She's been amazing all over the place. I've got her in Wave Clear right now because she helps control the speed so well. I've also managed to actually mostly book her up. The only book I'm missing is getting this decreased speed up to a 70% chance from a 60% chance. I'm probably going to save that book, but we'll certainly see what happens. It is only one book to finish up. To be fair, I also need to put one more book into my Alice to get this book down, but because she resets herself with this skill, this has not been as high of a priority because I haven't needed it that much. The other thing I did do, which is great, is I managed to finish the Forge Pass and got a bunch of 6-star and 5-star bolster gear. And as you can see, I managed to get my Taragi the Frog in bolster gear. He is a great champion for this with a lot of HP, and he's overall very, very fast, and it's going to help him in Clan Boss as an ally protector, as well as anywhere else where I'm going to use him for ally protection as well. So accuracy is very good for Hydra as well. Overall, he's been a great champion for me. And then finally, the Templar of Doom himself. His build really hasn't changed much other than I finally did ascend him to 6-star, and I got this resistance banner on him almost entirely because it had speed as well as some other stats that were very useful for him as well. And with him, I was able to beat Bommel on hard, well, Bommel on hard 10 I already have beaten. Scarab on hard 20, not a problem. I finally have stopped on floor 37 on the Doom Tower, and I suspect that's probably where I'm going to be ending up, because I'm struggling to get past the floor of Hegemons. But other than that, Champion's been very good. My next 6-star is going to be Durandal, and I'll explain the reason why, but I've talked about this before. He is a great nuker, does a good amount of damage in arena, will help me in faction wars as well, and overall is a really solid champion. I don't have to book him, although I probably will try to book him because booking damage dealers does add additional damage. In fact, if you look here, for example, that's 20% extra damage there, 20% extra damage there, 20% extra damage here, although this is less exciting. That's a lot of extra damage for somebody who's a damage dealer, so booking your champion's definitely helpful. But specifically, the mission is what I'm worried about. So what I want to do is tonight I'll be able to do the Force Keep 10 times. That will be not a problem at all. That's going to be 120 energy, and I'll be done with it. This here, Ascend a Force Champion, well, I don't have a Force Champion to ascend yet, and that is going to have to be Durandal, although to be fair, I certainly could do Bowsmith Flannan instead, but I think Durandal is going to bring more overall utility to the account than Flannan does, even though Flannan is a great champion, and it's certainly tempting. But my goal is to get this done tonight, and have this done by the time I can farm the Void Keep on this Saturday, Sunday. So I don't necessarily have to have this done right away, but as soon as I can have this done, then I can kind of sit on this mission for just a little bit and work on getting a Void Champion ascended. I'll be able to do it during one of the champion trainings for the Fusion, so it won't be a problem there. So it'll get done during an event where I'm going to get some extra rewards. Then from there, it is 200 classic arena battles and the affinity bonus to 10. So I have been using some of my classic arena medals to level up my Great Hall a little bit here, a little bit there. Once I hit this mission, I will stop spending them anywhere and save up so that I get this done and I can get this one done here. And from there, it's pretty much clear sailing all the way to Arbiter. I'll have to run a couple of extra keys on Nightmare. That's not going to be a major issue. I do have to make sure that my Spider team is hopefully more consistent by then, but I'll have had probably another week or two to have done it, and we're going to get all these extra gem rewards as well, which will make it a lot easier to get done. So Arbiter is simply a matter of time for me. I know some people have completed Arbiter already. They made a beeline for her. I chose to go just slightly slower and eased up just a little bit, as I realized that while I certainly want to sprint to get Arbiter, Arbiter is not going to improve my account so much that I need to sacrifice other things. And so I've been doing other things to make sure the account continues to grow instead of just getting Arbiter. So just looking at teams where I can certainly gain a few points on this is my Ice Golem team, and I could certainly try a few other things with the Ice Golem team as well. For example, if I think Alice is doing too much damage and triggering the boss to do his retribution, perhaps I actually put Kale back in, or honestly, even the Monkey King back in wouldn't be the worst option as well, because the Monkey King can take some damage and reset. Now this is stage 22. Stage 23 is actually where I need to beat, so that's another reason the Monkey King might be particularly good. Although to be fair, Alice is certainly going to be super helpful against the waves, and that might be a reason to keep her involved as well. Taragi, mostly if he can keep his ally protection up long enough that if I get hit by a big nuke, he's the one that dies and not every other champion. That's really kind of the theory of why he's good in there. And of course, Geomancer just does a ton of damage, as well as gives me a little bit of a safety valve with some damage reduction as well. So that's kind of my plot with this one as well. Maybe I may have to go in full tank and actually throw Rector in here instead of Alice and just kind of slowly whittle down the waves just to get this particular floor done. And if I have to do that, well, I'll do that. But hopefully I'm thinking this team should be able to get past 24 without too much of a problem at least once to get me on the level 24 floor for the leaderboard. Dragon, on the other hand, it's just been a matter of stats. I need to try this team out. I mean, fair, the Vergis team I think is something I've tried. I can certainly go back to using Tagore. I think that probably would actually work a little bit better. As you can see, this team isn't particularly tuned either, so maybe I need to tune this just a little bit. I think Taragi is still a better champion for this than Kale, particularly because Taragi gives me the ability to do the ally protection, which is nice, but Taragi also gives me decreased attack, which is going to be very, very helpful against the boss as well. This here is my inconsistent spider team, and it will be less inconsistent once I can finally get this Cold Heart a crit damage amulet, and that's really probably the only thing I'm absolutely missing from this team, because right now, the way this team works is Geomancer does some of the reflect damage and some of his additional damage, but we get through all of these champions. Renegade's the slowest one. Renegade resets. Renegade then gets eaten by the spiderlings. Then this Cold Heart gets eaten by the spiderlings, and then they start working on Geomancer. And I have to hope that Geomancer reflects enough with the Giant Slayer damage to actually hurt this spider enough that this Cold Heart can kill or nearly kill it when she gets her Heartseeker back up after 2 turns. So it's a little bit of a gamble right now, but as I get this Cold Heart to do more damage, this becomes more and more consistent because I don't need the second attack necessarily from this Cold Heart. And if I continue to level this Cold Heart up, she'll be a little bit tankier, be able to tank a few more hits. Maybe getting Renegade up to level 4 or maybe even level 5, rank 5 I should say, would give me a little extra time in this team to be able to soak a little bit more damage before Geomancer possibly dies. And the funny part about this is that I ran this on stream. I've seen this multiple times where everybody dies until we get down to Ugo. Ugo is the only one left. Ugo survives long enough to get the revive, and I went through 2 cycles of Ugo reviving with one of my wins on this when I was streaming live. So quite amusing. Definitely not the type of strategy you want to count on for an automatic level 20 win. And finally here in Fire Knight, I've got Geomancer for turn meter control. I've got Cold Heart for turn meter control and the ability to break down the shield. I've got Alice for her ability to break down the shield to A1 and some turn meter control on her A2. And otherwise, it's just making sure that they stay alive on the waves. Cold Heart tends to die at least once on the waves, and Togor will pick her back up. Otherwise, we get to the boss, and the boss may get the shield up 2 or 3 times at most, but generally we can keep the shield down, so where it only gets a chance to come back up maybe once. So this has been a good team for me so far, and again, I just need to run it again to get those speed numbers up just a little bit for leaderboards. So here's where I am with Sand Devil, and as I mentioned, this stage 14 here is Force, so that is certainly a bit of a problem for me going much beyond there. I can certainly give it a try and maybe run it for a time or 2, but it's probably going to be a little bit of RNG to see what kind of stuff I can get up. As you can see, here's my team right now, and they are squishy enough right now where I need to use Togor to put his shield up first before the rest of these guys go. I certainly could maybe think about putting Taragi in this team, but the problem is that what I need is I need to be able to put debuffs up on this boss here to be able to do a bunch of extra damage. Kale has the quad hitter, which is unfortunate it's a quad hitter, but it does put up 4 poisons, which can be very, very helpful in making this boss easier to do damage on. She's there for the raw damage. Monkey's there mostly for the raw damage. I could certainly try to use a Geomancer. The problem with the Geomancer is Geomancer will decrease the turn meter and therefore decrease his max HP, and therefore he's super squishy, and so he'll just die at some point in time. So it ends up not working particularly well. Plus this boss cleanses if you're not careful, so that extra burn isn't really going to do a lot of damage other than the burn tick, which makes him not particularly useful. I could certainly move to maybe a Cold Heart to add some additional damage instead. That would certainly be an interesting option. That might actually be an interesting option instead of Kale as well, because that still caps out at a maximum of 10% of the max HP of the boss, but it does cap after all the other damage reduction as well. So maybe we'll fool around with that a little bit as well. But again, my Cold Heart, super squishy as well, a lot squishier than my Kale, in fact. So getting Kale involved in this team, I think, might just be a little bit better. And finally, with Phantom Shogun's Grove, this is pretty much the team I've been running on stage 15 at the right affinity here. If we go to stage 16, that is going to be Force, so that's going to be a bit of a problem for the way my teams are constructed, at least. And yeah, for the most part, everyone's got a blessing other than Togor, and that's really important, particularly because she's got the 5-star blessing. That is how you deal with this boss. Geomancer does not help, because this boss restricts his passive, so his passive will never work. So while he will certainly add some poisons, he will not actually do any of the reflect damage or damage mitigation, which makes him much less worthwhile than otherwise in just about any other build. Now again, I could certainly move to a Cold Heart for an example as an option, because she does have the max HP hit versus, Kale with the poisons, for example. But again, Kale is a little tankier, so maybe that'll work. I'll kind of play with it and see what we can do. So that is my plan of attack for the free-to-play challenge. And if I can come out nearly on top or on top of all of these leaderboards, I'm pretty sure I can seal the win as long as I just keep on cruising and keep on pushing the account just a little bit further. Because at that point in time, I'll have gotten so many additional points that it will be very hard for people who have not been on these top leaderboards to keep up with me. So that is my goal, and hopefully it will work out. If you want to see me push some of these dungeons live, I will be streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Well, tonight as of filming this, unfortunately it will have been tomorrow for anyone watching this video, but you can always check me out. I do stream occasionally on YouTube, and I stream on Twitch. At the moment, it is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. That schedule may change due to some other life stuff, but I will let you guys know in Discord. So check out my Discord, check out my Twitch account. You know, all kinds of fun places to get useful information. I do takeovers. We do all kinds of fun stuff. We love to chat about raid. We love to chat about not raid stuff in my Discord as well. So stop on by, say hi, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. You guys are absolutely awesome. And until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.